Rape is rape. It doesn't matter if the perpetrator is a stranger, an acquaintance, or a spouse. Marital rape, specifically, is the act of sexual intercourse with one's spouse without their consent. It is a brutal violation of trust, intimacy, and fundamental human rights. It is a crime that deserves our unwavering attention and condemnation. Despite its severity, marital rape remains a taboo topic in many parts of the world, often shrouded in silence and denial. The deeply ingrained patriarchal norms that permeate societies across the globe often serve to normalize and excuse this heinous act. The time for silence is over. We must break the taboo and bring this issue to the forefront of our collective consciousness. It is important to understand that marriage is not, and should never be, a shield for abusers. The institution of marriage ideally should be built on a foundation of love, respect, and equality. This essay will delve into the complexities of marital rape, exploring its legal status globally, the devastating impact on survivors, and the urgent need for legal recognition and societal change. We must challenge the archaic beliefs and systemic failures that allow this form of violence to persist. We must stand in solidarity with survivors and demand justice, accountability, and an end to impunity. Marital rape is a global epidemic, casting a long shadow across continents and cultures. It affects millions of women and girls worldwide, leaving them physically and emotionally scarred. Despite its prevalence, legal protection for victims remains uneven and inadequate in many parts of the world. Some countries have taken commendable steps towards criminalizing marital rape, recognizing it as a distinct and punishable offense. These nations acknowledge that a marriage license should never be a free pass for sexual violence. They understand that consent within a marriage is not implied. It must be freely given every single time. However, the fight is far from over. Shockingly, a significant number of countries still fail to recognize marital rape as a crime. These nations cling to outdated beliefs that view women as the property of their husbands, stripping them of their agency and their right to bodily autonomy. This global disparity in legal recognition highlights the urgent need for a unified front against this egregious human rights violation. We must work tirelessly to ensure that all countries enact and enforce laws that protect spouses from sexual violence. India, a nation grappling with a complex tapestry of cultural norms and legal complexities, presents a particularly stark example of the struggle to criminalize marital rape. Despite growing activism and demands for justice, marital rape remains legal in India. This glaring legal loophole is a stain on India's commitment to gender equality and human rights. The current legal framework in India exempts marital rape from the definition of rape under the Indian Penal Code. This exemption sends a dangerous message that the Indian legal system condones and perpetuates the subjugation of women within marriage. It reinforces the archaic notion that husbands have an inherent right to their wives' bodies, regardless of consent. The consequences of this legal loophole are devastating. Countless women in India suffer in silence, trapped in abusive marriages with no legal recourse. They are denied the right to say no to unwanted sexual advances from their husbands. Their voices are silenced, their experiences invalidated, and their suffering ignored. The fight to criminalize marital rape in India is a fight for the very soul of the nation. It is a fight to uphold the dignity and rights of all its citizens. One of the most pervasive and harmful myths surrounding marital rape is the notion that marriage implies perpetual consent to sexual intercourse. This dangerous assumption perpetuates a culture of silence and allows abusers to hide behind the veil of marriage. It is imperative that we dismantle this myth and replace it with a clear understanding of consent. Consent is not a one-time event, given at the altar or during the wedding vows. Consent is an ongoing process, a conscious and freely given agreement to engage in sexual activity. It can be revoked at any time, for any reason. This applies to all relationships, including and especially marriage. The idea that marriage somehow extinguishes a person's right to refuse sexual advances is not only archaic, but also deeply disrespectful. It reduces individuals to mere objects, denying them their agency and their right to control their own bodies. We must challenge this dangerous misconception at every opportunity. We must educate ourselves and others about the importance of consent, both within and outside of marriage. By shifting societal norms and promoting a culture of respect, we can create a world where everyone feels safe and empowered to say no to unwanted sexual advances. Section 5. The devastating impact, scars seen and unseen. The impact of marital rape on survivors is profound and multifaceted. It extends far beyond the physical act of sexual violence, leaving deep emotional, psychological, and social scars that can last a lifetime.
Victims of marital rape often experience a range of physical injuries, including bruises, cuts, and sexually transmitted infections. The physical pain inflicted upon them serves as a constant reminder of the violation they endured.
However, the unseen wounds of marital rape often run deeper and linger longer than any physical injury. Victims may struggle with feelings of shame, guilt, fear, anxiety, and depression. Their sense of self-worth can be shattered, leaving them feeling broken and alone.
The trauma of marital rape can also have a devastating impact on victims' relationships, their ability to trust others, and their overall quality of life. It can affect their work, their education, and their ability to form healthy, fulfilling relationships.
Section 6. Trapped in silence. Why victims stay silent. The decision to report marital rape is never easy. Victims often face a complex web of emotions, societal pressures, and systemic barriers that prevent them from coming forward. Understanding these challenges is crucial to providing support and creating an environment where survivors feel safe and empowered to speak out. One of the most significant barriers to reporting is the fear of not being believed. Victims may worry that their experiences will be dismissed or minimized, particularly if their abuser is well respected within the community. The fear of retaliation is another major concern. Victims may fear for their safety or the safety of their children if they report the abuse. They may also worry about the social and economic consequences of coming forward, such as divorce, financial instability, or ostracism from their families and communities. Furthermore, victims may internalize the societal stigma associated with marital rape, blaming themselves for the abuse or feeling ashamed to speak out. They may also feel pressured to protect their abuser, particularly if they are financially dependent on them or fear the consequences of breaking up the family. Section 7. Legal loopholes and roadblocks, the fight for justice. Despite the growing global movement to criminalize marital rape, significant legal loopholes and roadblocks continue to hinder progress. These challenges reflect deeply ingrained societal biases and a reluctance to challenge the traditional power dynamics within marriage. One of the most common arguments against criminalizing marital rape is that it would open the floodgates to false accusations. However, this argument is often used to discredit victims and undermine the very real problem of marital rape. Another common argument is that existing domestic violence laws are sufficient to address marital rape. However, this argument fails to recognize the unique nature of marital rape and the specific challenges faced by victims. Furthermore, even in countries where marital rape is criminalized, enforcement of the law can be weak and inconsistent. Police and prosecutors may be hesitant to pursue cases of marital rape, often due to a lack of understanding of the issue or a belief that it is a private matter between husband and wife. Section 8. A call for change. Legal recognition as a vital step. Legal recognition of marital rape is not just about punishing perpetrators, it is about sending a powerful message that sexual violence within marriage will not be tolerated. It is about recognizing the fundamental right of all individuals to bodily autonomy and to say no to unwanted sexual advances, regardless of their marital status. Criminalizing marital rape is a crucial step towards creating a society where women are treated as equal partners in marriage, not as property. It is about challenging the deeply ingrained patriarchal norms that perpetuate violence against women and girls. Legal recognition also sends a strong deterrent message to potential abusers. It makes it clear that sexual violence within marriage will have serious consequences. By holding perpetrators accountable for their actions, we can help to prevent future acts of violence. Furthermore, criminalizing marital rape can empower survivors to come forward and seek justice. It can help to break down the stigma surrounding marital rape and encourage survivors to report abuse without fear of being disbelieved or blamed. Section 9. Breaking the cycle. Towards a future free from marital rape. The fight against marital rape is not just a legal battle, it is a cultural battle. It is a fight to change hearts and minds, to challenge harmful social norms, and to create a world where all relationships are based on respect, equality, and consent. We must start by educating ourselves and others about the realities of marital rape. We must break the silence surrounding this issue and engage in open and honest conversations about consent, healthy relationships, and gender equality. We must also support organizations and individuals working tirelessly to end violence against women and girls. We can volunteer our time, donate to their cause, or simply amplify their voices on social media. The journey towards a world free from marital rape will be long and arduous, but by working together, raising our voices, and demanding change, we can create a future where all individuals are free to live with dignity, respect, and the right to bodily autonomy.